It's time once again for our winter giveaway. This giveaway is very simple to enter. Be a patron. So the easiest way to enter is go to patreon.com/comicsfunprofit. Become a patron at any level at our Patreon site, and you can do it that way. You can also enter by going to Threadless and buying some merch and tagging us in a photo of you in said merch. So if you like one of our t-shirts or hats or whatever, and you go to comicsfunprofit.threadless.com and find all our merch and like some of it, buy it, wear it. You can either tag us in social with you wearing it, or send us a photo of you wearing it, and you're entered. So those are the two ways: be a patron and buy merch, and then you get entered in our winter giveaway, which is fun swag giveaways of photos and stickers and signed comics, just like our fall giveaway was. And we had 5 lucky winners win stuff in our fall giveaway. So we're hoping to have as many entrants this time that we can give away that many again. So be a patron, buy merch, enter the winter giveaway. Check out beacons.ai/comicsfunprofit for all the C4 FAP links you could ever need, all in one place. You can provide feedback, listen, support, share, enjoy these. We have our Patreon there. You can buy us a beer or a coffee. You can check out our Instagrams, our Twitters, our Facebooks. Check out our YouTube page. You can email us. You can listen to our podcasts on Patreon, if you're a subscriber, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, on Podbean. We have Google Podcasts on there. We have an Amazon wish list. You want to buy Kyle and I something? Fine. You can do that here. We appreciate it. We have Kyle's RPG podcast listed on there, so you can check out his Dork Day Afternoon offerings. We have Cowabunga links, so you can check out the Cowabunga Deep Discount FOC and pre-order list. Get on that. That's RLCS, so you can check that out as well. And we want to just give you opportunities to say hi, to check out what we're doing, support us if you would like, or just listen. Check out beacons.ai/comicsfunprofit for all the C4 FAP links you could ever need. Thanks. Back to the show.
Thank you for listening to Comics for Fun and Profit. This is Kyle and Drew with a special episode where Drew and I will recap our seeing of the stupendous Sony feature Madam Web. We went and saw it on 1 week after its release, about 5-6 days after it theatrically came out, and boy, do we have a lot to say about this movie. Where we will get into some spoilers and some speculative stuff, so just FYI. But here's the thing. Who cares if this movie is spoiled? You do not care. It is completely irrelevant.
I can't even think of anything that could have got spoiled and ruined for you.
Yeah, this is not that kind of movie, let's just say. All right, so first things first, you and I both decided it's not as bad as we thought it was going to be going in.
Right.
Because we were told, like, legitimately, I was told this is the worst comic book movie ever created. I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't know. Yeah, I thought Morbius was worse than this.
Mm-hmm.
But I do see some points as it went on. It kind of got a little more corny and a little cornier. And but I thought at first, it was fine, and it was laying the groundwork for who these characters were, and it was a good prequel that will never get the actual superhero movie for.
Correct.
Unfortunately, because it's so widely panned. I really don't think we're going to get another one. And so we'll never really get to see these people.
And unfortunately, like, the biggest thing here is I was told this also changes their plans for Silk, of who I am a massive fan of. So they were working on a Silk title around the female Spider-Verse.
That's a bummer.
Now that has a foul stench upon it from this thing. So.
Maybe they animate it.
Well, okay, so maybe they animated. However, this movie had the worst ADR and the worst CG of any movie I've probably seen in the last 15 years.
When you say ADR, what do you mean?
I mean, there was one character who you could tell every time he spoke was not his actual lines, and it was overdubbed on everything.
That was our villain.
Yeah.
Did he have like a thick accent and they had to redo? Yeah. They had to dub his.
No, it appears that like this movie went through so many changes, and they tried to quote unquote save it by changing so much stuff that like they just kept having to redo dialogue that didn't actually happen. But it was unfortunately so poorly done and so obvious that it took me out of everything he was in.
Okay. All right. I didn't really catch that.
Oh my gosh, it was driving me nuts.
Yeah. So I guess I was never looking at the bad guy's lips.
But you didn't hear that the voice, like the tenor of his voice didn't match anybody else in any scene.
I mean, I thought he had a weird accent.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. Yeah. Like the biggest gripe I have was this is a superhero movie without superheroes.
Correct.
This is a comic book superhero movie without any.
So this movie would have been a million times better, and this is not my take. I heard somebody else do this take, and I immediately went, crap, that's so good. Just give me a Sydney Sweeney-led, Julia Carpenter-led, essentially Madam Web is the Charlie's Angels, and just send them out on capers, and this would have been 1,000 times better.
No, I don't know. I'm not sure she was the breakout from this show.
Sydney Sweeney, I mean, that's who I went to see. That's the character I liked the most out of anybody there.
Yeah, well, okay.
That's the only one that I felt like was possibly a superhero.
Full disclosure, I had no idea who any of the characters were before I went in.
Okay, so Sydney Sweeney's character is obviously Julia Carpenter, the first Spider-Woman. We knew Madam Web was Dakota Johnson's character. Of course, Madam Web, we kind of know her iterations, and she's.
Do we? I don't.
Okay.
I don't know Julia Carpenter. I don't know Madam Web, but I don't know who the other two are.
Yeah. And the original Madam Web is a person who has a disability and is in a wheelchair and is hooked up and can see futures and they're spun like webs kind of thing. Anya Corazon is who Isabel Mercado played. She was another Spider-Woman. And then who was the other girl that played?
She was probably the best actress. I liked her.
Yeah, Maddie Franklin.
Yeah, she was really great.
Yeah, Maddie Franklin was the third Spider-Woman.
Yeah, I thought that the three quote unquote teenagers were really good. And I thought Dakota Johnson was fine. I've heard Wooden. I've heard.
Dude, this was very poorly written. I think they tried their darndest.
I thought she was fine. I thought her buddy, the other ambulance guy, is one of my. I like that character actor.
Adam Scott. Yeah, Adam Scott's awesome.
Yeah, he was
Adam
great.
Scott is a young Ben Parker.
Yeah, and he's married to Mary Parker. Is that?
He had recently met his soulmate, which we knew would be Mary Parker.
So
we don't actually ever see her or hear her name.
This is not Aunt May.
Yes, that's Aunt May.
That's Aunt May?
That would be who that would. I mean, we're to infer that that's Aunt May.
So in 2003, Aunt
so
May
this doesn't line up with any of our current Spider-Man. So this is not Tobey. This is not anybody else. This does not even match up to Holland. They just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Because apparently the original script took place in the 90s and led into the age of when Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. But they just didn't.
They fumbled it. Couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
I thought, because like Sony still owns Spider-Man, right? They just loan it to the MCU.
There was Marvel all over the heading of this when we went into the theater. Marvel. But yes, this is a Sony feature. Sony still owns all this.
Yeah. So it's hard to fathom why they didn't blend it a little better. But Morbius was like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, so
We laughed. We laughed a lot.
the conceit is Dakota Johnson is 30,
Mm-hmm.
and then Sydney Sweeney and the other two are in high school. And
Are we talking actual ages or what
the
we're
characters,
supposed to
the
characters?
characters,
Gotcha.
and they
Dakota
all
Johnson is 34.
and they're interacting, crossing paths, but not really knowing each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then this bad guy's premonition is that the three high school girls will have superpowers and will kill him.
Yeah, he will be
Therefore,
taken down.
He must hunt them down and kill them first.
Mm-hmm.
When we see them, they do not have any powers.
Correct.
That we know of.
No, they definitely do not have any powers because they bumble their way through everything.
And Dakota Johnson, Madam Webb, Cassie Webb? No. What's her name? Something like
yeah, Cassandra Webb, Cassie Webb.
Cassie Webb is jaded EMS person.
Mm-hmm.
So she takes a lot of risks, doesn't really care about the people that she saves, just does it. As like I don't know, what is she, like a adrenaline junkie? Because she was a foster kid. What's her deal? I mean, why is she like that? We don't know.
She seems fairly normal.
We don't really know why she doesn't have any kind of emotional attachment to anything, but she doesn't. Her Ben Parker is her partner in crime in the EMS, and he's met a girl, and we never see her though, right?
Never see her, never hear her name.
So we don't know who that is officially. But okay, so bad guys after these girls using NSA technology, facial recognition to find them.
The very burgeoning of what would have happened after 9/11 into the world of not having cameras on every corner, but still apparently being able to facially recognize.
Yeah, so they track them to Grand Central Station, where all three of the girls are for some reason crossing paths, and then Dakota Johnson's also there, Cassie Webb's also there.
Well, we infer that they're drawn in by some magnetism because they've all also had scant correlations with Cassandra in some way, shape, or form.
They've crossed paths at some point, in some form and fashion. So now Cassie's been getting these dumb premonitions that haven't really been very helpful. Just been confusing. She gets little flash forwards, flashbacks, and then rewinds and is able to relive that moment again, maybe slightly differently. Mm-hmm. And so she keeps getting these, and this time when they're all on the same train car, and it takes forever for this to unwind.
Yeah, it took way too long.
Which we saw in the first trailer. They show this, and you got it. Mm-hmm. But this time they do one character after another, B characters, non-player characters coming in and having interactions, and then rewinding, and they're not there, and then they come in again and say the same thing, and it goes on and on and on until finally she gets it that the bad guy's going to come and kill.
Yeah, there's a weird thing where Ezekiel, the villain in this, anytime he has a female that he's fighting, he likes to pick them up and snap their neck. So we have to individually watch him attempt to snap their necks in 3 different flashbacks, 4 including. It's very weird.
Yeah, and he also has poisonous grip. So he touches you and poisons you. The longer he holds on to you, the more poison.
We forgot to talk about the star of this movie, Drew.
Which is?
CPR in general.
So we haven't done CPR yet, have we? We haven't taught it. We haven't taught it.
We did CPR at the very beginning because she went into the river and had to be given CPR to magically pop back up.
Oh yeah,
and be perfectly fine.
And her buddy, who was at the that big explosion factory that that she had a premonition about. She was giving him CPR.
And then he just wakes up and he's like, I'm good. And she's like, all right, buddy, you have a good one. That's not how CPR works, my dude.
And then later she's doing CPR and she has bloody hands that she had premonition about. Yeah, a lot of
Mike
CPR.
Epps died.
Yeah, when Mike Epps died.
And then she strategically teaches all the children CPR because there's one thing that can counteract venom to the heart, and that's CPR.
Yeah. And so she gives a 12-second primer on life-saving CPR. They all get it instantly.
I'll bet you CPR is done a dozen times in this movie, and it's successful 11 out of the 12.
11 out
and the only one it wasn't is because he's bleeding out, and she's literally pumping the blood out of his heart onto the floor.
Yeah. I forgot CPR is the star of the show.
Yeah.
So, save a life, kids. Learn
that being said, get certified.
Yeah. So that's how she rescues the kids by having premonitions that she knows where he's going to come from, and they run away. Only they don't really know why they're with this girl because she's kind of creepy. And then they ended up. They kind of accuse her of kidnapping her. So that's
but then they all kind of look at each other and be like, well, I don't have a mother to go back to. I don't have parents to go back to. Yeah. I don't have anybody. All right, creepy lady, we're all yours.
So I think she just adopted them.
Yeah.
At that point, and I don't know where the rest of their parents are. That was really, really weird. Mm-hmm. One's deported. One's in China traveling. And the other
has a rich uncle. And do you know who that rich uncle is?
I believe it was Uncle Jonah, right? So
J. Jonah Jameson.
Jonah? Yeah.
J. Jonah Jameson himself, yes.
So they're some interesting kind of touches.
But they don't actually say anything. Like they specifically don't say Peter Parker. They specifically don't say Aunt May.
Right.
They specifically don't say so many things.
So they're on the run. They drive out in the woods. So I guess somehow they figured out that maybe they're getting tracked somehow. But I don't know how they would have figured that part out. Why they drove out in the woods. They just drove out in the woods.
Yeah.
And then she had a premonition that because he was acting like a spider, Ezekiel was acting like a spider,
mm-hmm.
It might have something to do with her mom's journal, her dead mother's journal, because it had a picture of a spider in it. So she runs back into town and tells those girls to, be good, stay in the forest.
Hey, weird girls, back. I don't know anything about. Stay here in the woods. I promise I'll be back.
Yeah. So she heads back into town to read this journal that gives her all the clues she needs to tell her who this Ezekiel is. So very nice the way that worked out. And she heads back out. They have since left the safety of the forest and went to a diner where they dance on the table with young youths.
To Britney Spears Toxic, because the villain has toxicity.
It's 2003. So why? What else would you say? What else?
Who else is relevant?
Yeah. And so she doesn't get there in time the first time. So then she gets the premonition and goes back in time and is able to get back, and this time stop them. And the Ezekiel's just freaking out, like, how does she always know what's going on?
Yeah, straight up murks her by running him over with a taxi cab.
Yeah. So then they run again. This time they go to Ben's house. She decides that it's time for her to go to Peru to research this spider clan.
So once again, kids that don't trust me, I'm leaving for a few days. Hang out with this guy.
So she heads to Peru, meets up with the spider people who tell her history. Turns out her mother didn't abandon her. She actually saved her from a life of illness and cured her through the spider venom. And so that makes her feel better because she's hated her mom for abandoning her whole life. So that was good. And she comes back from Peru pretty quickly, and we have the big showdown at the Pepsi fireworks plant. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, there is a lot of Pepsi promotion in this. A lot of
way too
Code
much
Red
product
Mountain
placement.
Dew. Now you can see it as foreshadowing, or you can see it as product placement.
Yeah, it was product placement, and
because it's like we see it
heavy-handed.
all. So when she drowns in the beginning, we see all that stuff in the beginning of the movie. We just don't know what it means.
Right. Yes, that's true. That's true. The big Pepsi S.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a big fight at a Pepsi factory that has fireworks in it,
Filled with fireworks.
You know, as cola factories are wont to do, filled with fireworks. That's the active ingredient in Coca-Cola or Pepsi Cola. And so then they use her newly acquired control of her premonitions to dodge bullets. And she also grabs a Captain America-esque piece of tin shield and blocks a lot of projectiles that way. And then she learned how to be in multiple places at once on her little spider webs.
Yeah, she can web so much that she can be in multiple places at once.
So she has to stand there and be vulnerable, but then she can shoot her tendrils out and be in multiple places, and she saved all three girls simultaneously. But while she did that, a dude just came out and cold cocked her right in the face because she was projecting herself elsewhere. Then there was some other dumb premonitions about the Pepsi sign, which she kept staring at. And if I was the bad guy coming after her and she kept looking at that Pepsi sign back and forth, I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to step to the side because she's really paying a lot of attention to this Pepsi sign. I bet it's going to fall. But he doesn't. And so he gets killed, which really wasn't his premonition. So I guess that means
so every day since he got his powers, he had the same dream of being killed by those three girls. But then it turns out it never actually ever happens.
Those girls had nothing to do with his death. It was all Madam Web. So while doing that, she falls into the water and goes blind and crippled somehow. Loses her legs.
Yeah, and she's shot with an underwater firecracker.
But we didn't really. She just fell in the water though, didn't she?
Yeah.
And so she comes out, and then she's totally blind, and she can't use her legs.
Yeah, she's a blind Professor Xavier.
And then we fast forward to 6 months later, maybe 3 months later, doesn't matter. And she is fully
dope glasses, very dope glasses.
Yeah, got cool blind folk glasses. The girls all live with her. And then they will be fighting crime as their characters.
At no point in this movie are they given powers or given suits or given assignments.
Yeah, we don't know when they got powers, if they got powers, or how that happened. And it was a really weird, long origin story without any of the fun stuff. Right. So it was like if you just saw a 2-hour Wayne's going to see Zorro and the pearls getting snapped off of her neck and them getting shot for 2 hours, and you never actually got to see Batman do anything.
Yeah.
That's basically what this movie was.
Just give us an hour of him falling in the cave full of bats.
Yeah. All origin, no actual superheroing. And that was kind of a bummer because I thought, well, they're just taking their time, but they just never ever did. I mean, the only action of them as superheroes was in that guy's dream, which never actually came true.
Yeah.
So, and it was really short. It was like 30 seconds. So that was disappointing. I didn't have high expectations going in. Unfortunately, I had already been inundated with people that hate this movie like it's the plague. It wasn't that bad. Um, well, we went with my daughter and her boyfriend, and he hated it a lot, but wouldn't come on the podcast to talk about
Shocker.
it.
But like the four girls, gorgeous, worth the price of admission, I guess, just to watch them running around.
Yeah. I mean, they have beautiful ladies. We're in this. But yeah, how do we rate these? Do we give them a letter grade? I forget.
Yeah, I think we always gave them a number out of 10, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Or if you want to give them the old high school ABCD, we can do that too.
I think we do letter grades, and I can't give it more than a C+.
I was just going to say an even C, but I'm with you. Let's go C plus, because at the end of the day, it was better than I thought. It
was better than I thought. C+, which was a grade below Blue Beetle, I think.
Yes, which your daughter specifically said, I liked this better than Blue Beetle.
Yeah, which I don't know if that's true. I'm not sure that's true. So yeah, there you go. Madam Web, probably don't need to go see it in theaters. Probably don't subscribe to a streaming service to see it.
Correct.
If it's not, unless it's on a streaming service that you already have, that would be the time to watch it. I don't think you need to.
However, fun and funny. And if you really get it, let's say you saw it and you're attached to these characters. Okay, Julia Carpenter, her first appearance is in Secret Wars 7. Go out and get that. Let's say you liked Ezekiel Sims. In the actual comic books, he is not a bad guy. He's actually an ally to Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man 30 from 2001, his first appearance. If you liked Aranya, or whatever her name was, Anya Corzan, if you liked her first appearance, Amazing Fantasy #1 from 2004. If you liked, we also have The Death of Madam Web in Amazing Spider-Man 637 from 2010.
Oh, okay.
If you liked Maddie Franklin, which was, that's J. Jonah Jameson's niece and the third woman in this, who I actually think, she's the Spider-Woman. I think the Anya was actually a Spider-Girl and everything. Her first appearance is Amazing Spider-Man 5 from 1999. And then, of course, Madam Web's first appearance, Amazing Spider-Man 210 from 1980.
Yeah. So they mined these very minor tertiary characters and gave them some interesting backstory, and just never gave him powers, unfortunately. And so, but I thought they made him interesting, until it just kind of went downhill their last 20 minutes of the movie for me. But that really, it probably would have been higher had it not been for the last 20 minutes of that I did not enjoy.
Just didn't stick the landing for you.
No, it did not. No. So there you go. There's our take on Madam Web. Our Madam Webisode, if you will.
That's right. Kick back, tell us what you thought. Tell us if you agree. Tell us if you disagree. Is this the worst comic book movie ever made? Is it not even close and one of your favorites? Tell us what you thought. Find us on the socials. Throw that. If you're listening to this through Patreon, give us some feedback.
That's the only way you'll hear it.
That's right. Unless we miss an episode and throw it to the general public. All good things. So, for Drew and for myself, see you.
Our LCS is Cowabunga Comics, Lake Country, Wisconsin's best pop culture destination for new comics, back issues, gaming, retro video games, vinyl, and figures. Give them a call, 262-569-9999. Check them out online at cowabungacomics.com, or follow them on Twitter at Incredicow. They are our LCS, and we utilize their deep discount mail order service to bring Oconomowoc, Wisconsin closer to us. They'll take care of you, Tell them Drew and Kyle sent you. Say hi to Eric and James from us. If you need an LCS, you can't go wrong with Cowabunga Comics.